Support for Wrestlezona comes from the Wrestling Guy Store Phoenix, offering wrestling-themed merchandise and collectibles. More information at WGSPHX.com. That is WGSPHX.com. Hope you're having an amazing one, Wrestlezona family, whenever you happen to be tuning in, and welcome back. My name is Lance Reece, your definitive host for the hour. I've been a fan of professional wrestling since I was about 6 years old, begging my parents to buy me action figures ever since I saw videos of Jeff Hardy swanton bombing on YouTube. We got another packed episode for you today as we here on episode 28 of Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse. We'll cover what's happening in the world of WWE, All Elite Wrestling, the Indies, even wrestling here local in the Valley. Stay tuned to hear what exciting names are coming into the Valley for the 2026 wrestling calendar year. And we also have an exclusive interview with ThePulseAZ star Grizz Broady. In local news, coming up for IZW Wrestling, there have been some early announcements for their 2026 calendar. There is an IZW live show coming up May 9th, 2026, featuring the IZW debut of Hornswoggle, who made quite the career for himself in WWE with the likes of Finlay and Vince McMahon in their programming, as well as a signing there. And then, of course, for their IZW Monster event, their big annual event coming up in February 2026, they have Su Yung making her IZW debut, as well as a signing. Also, for IZW Monster coming up, they're going to feature the likes of Thugnificent, IZW original Mike G, as well as Martin Cassius, who was Marty the Moth in Lucha Underground. Also coming up in local news would be Phoenix Championship Wrestling AZ. They have a show coming up January 10th of the next year. The first 3 rows have been sold out with general admission still available. It's going to be a great show. I love going to those shows, of course, and, we're going to have Grizz Broady shortly on our program who can tell you all about it. He's one of those guys that's going out to every show. You'll learn a little bit more about him coming up in our interview section of the show. Also in local news, Arizona Wrestling Federation yesterday, Saturday, November 22nd, hailing from Bullshooters in Phoenix, put on their Dire Consequence event featuring the likes of Nixon Newell, who was formerly known as Tegan Knox in WWE, Viperous, Paul London, 4-time AWF heavyweight champ Chubby Depp, Fallen Gray, Simone, and many more. We will get updates to you about how that event turned out in the following week, so you won't want to miss next weekend's episode of Wrestlezona, or for that matter, any weekend's episode of Wrestlezona. Of course, Sunday mornings at 8 here on 88.7 The Pulse. Of course, the Arizona wrestling world is getting excited for Friday, December 19th of this year, as Kingslayer Wrestling is looking to make their event debut as a promotion. Of course, Kingslayer Productions, they do a lot of the camera work and the behind-the-scenes productions, a lot of the shows in Arizona, everywhere from IZW to PCWAZ. They were even out for AZ Deathmatch back in October. This show is going to feature the likes of Evan Daniels, Amira Squirrel, Gino Rivera, a lot of the IZW guys, as it is in collaboration with them and WrestleDrag. Of course, Kingslayer Wrestling will have a presence at the previously mentioned IZW Monster event coming up in February of next year, as they will put on Chapter 3 of their VIP Slayer Hour. Monday Night Raw made the rounds almost a week ago, November 17th, from Madison Square Garden, as John Cena made his last ever appearance for Monday Night Raw as a performer. It was John Cena's final Raw, and it was at Madison Square Garden. And man, what an absolute event that was. Getting to see him face off with Dominic Mysterio before they go into their match for Survivor Series coming up in Dom Mysterio's hometown. We got to see John Cena in a tag match with Sheamus and Rey Mysterio. Those three got to take to the ring for what would be Cena's last ever Monday Night Raw performance. I like to see, Cena, Sheamus, and Mysterio. They were hitting the five knuckle shuffle together It was an absolute blast from the past. They're doing a lot of fan service there with the nostalgia, and it has been absolutely incredible to see Cena in his final run. Of course, the John Cena Last Time Is Now tournament to determine his last ever opponent for his last match that will hail from his hometown of Boston has been going on. And on Raw, we saw a surprise return, kind of similar to Matt Cardona the previous week. We saw Dolph Ziggler return to the WWE ring against Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa, of course, picked up that win, but it was very, very great to see Dolph Ziggler back in that WWE ring, especially at the Garden. Also, NXT Gold Rush came on at the Garden. It had featured stars from, of course, NXT, as well as Evolve, TNA, and AAA. That was great. We got to see the likes of JC Jane against Tatum Paxley, as well as Sol Ruka take on Blake Monroe. We also saw Chelsea Green and All Ego Ethan Page defend and retain the AAA mixed tag team titles against Joe Hendry as well as Tia Hale. A lot of good stuff going on for this week of wrestling. In All Elite Wrestling news, yesterday, Saturday, November 22nd, AEW Full Gear, presented by DC, was hailing from the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. We'll have results for you in the following week. I'm Lance Reece from Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse, and I feel like I've been talking your ears off for a while, and I want to get back into a not famous, but a well-known segment of the show. So without further ado, let's get into our 10-bell history. 10-bell history. 1. Karl Gotch once banned himself from using the term pro wrestler in Japan, insisting the media call him a submission wrestler, which helped birth the shoot-style boom. 2. The Great Sasuke was legitimately elected to the Japanese Diet and wore his mask to official political meetings. 3. The original version of Sabu's theme in ECW was just silence. Paul Heyman wanted the crowd to hear the chaos approaching. 4. The earliest known pile driver in U.S. wrestling was performed by Wild Bill Longson in the 1930s, and many commissions temporarily banned it. 5. Bruiser Brody once wrestled under the name King Kong in Australia, which caused legal threats from the movie studios. 6. A young Jushin Thunder Liger once wrestled a match as Fujiyamada, Karate Cyborg. 7. Before becoming a wrestler, Mitsuharu Misawa trained as a shoot amateur wrestler hoping to qualify for the Olympics. He missed the cutoff by one tournament. 8. In 1985, Memphis ran a storyline claiming Jerry Lawler was literally powered by electricity after being electrocuted on live TV. 9. Terry Funk briefly retired in 1983 due to a horse-related injury. He got bucked off his ranch horse and broke his tailbone, one of his many retirements. 10. New Japan once made a rule that Tiger Mask could never lose by pinfall on TV to protect a licensing deal with the anime studio. That's all for our 10-bell history. If you have any interesting, fun wrestling trivial facts that you'd like to hear on the show, why don't you shoot us a DM on Instagram? At Wrestlezona is where you can find us. We also have our website, Wrestlezona.com, and everything as well as our podcast can be accessed through 887thepulse.com. And of course, we archive everything as podcasts on our YouTube and Spotify of the same name. Ladies and gentlemen, for Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse, we have gotten to that point of our show, and I'm Lance Reece, of course, joined in studio with the most dangerous man, Grizz Broady. Welcome to Wrestlezona.
Thank you for having me.
I've been anticipating this one for quite a while because we actually did have you earlier in the year for our live Rockathon broadcasts.
Yeah,
some
we
of
did.
The other PCW stars. There were a few tensions in the the room, especially with Kevin and John. But it's great to have you here, and you look healthy. You seem happy. Not to say you weren't last time, but we'll get to the injury talk at some point because I feel like it's vital. So I just want to get started with a little bit of background for people at the listening who might not know too much about you. So maybe just a little bit of a rundown. You are Grizz Broady, and you wrestle for in the Arizona area, as well as you've traveled up to Oregon and those kind of areas. If you wanted to steal my spotlight, I'm kind of not letting you
All
talk.
good. You can you can say all about it. I was like little background. I was like,
Yeah.
what part?
You can give a little the elevator talk, I call it. Elevator speech. Who you are,
All
what
right,
you do.
awesome. So yeah, the name is Grizz Broady, the most dangerous game, or you can call me the most dangerous man, whatever the case may be. But overall, it's about staying dangerous because we're big game hunting over here. Yeah. So far, I've been wrestling for the past 3 years. It's been very awesome. I've been starting to get a little well traveled, being around the block, I shall say, going up to Pacific Northwest, which is a second home for me now, being up there in Oregon and Washington. And then I started wrestling out in Texas quite a bit, making the rounds in those scenes. It's been very awesome, building the following, building the brand, and letting people know who Grizz Broady is. And it's been derailed a little bit. We'll talk about it a little bit later as I know I'm dealing with an injury, but it's been fun, and I can't wait to get the ball rolling on this game again.
Yeah. So I'll start the questions, I guess. When did you start your training, and what did that really look like for you?
Yeah, I started my training officially in 2020, like during COVID.
Mm.
So prior to that, a former college athlete playing football my whole life. Something I loved, near and dear to my heart. But I always joked and said that, not a joke, but I was serious. My friends thought I was joking when I was saying like when football was done, I was gonna make the transition to pro wrestling because that's something I always wanted to do. So the football wrapped up for me in 2019 of that season, and I made the decision. Okay, it is time to get to work. So I started a whole weight loss transformation. I used to be a big boy playing defensive line at 290, so it was like one of the biggest things with wrestling. It's also the business of aesthetics, so got to look the part. So I
Yeah.
started losing the weight and everything. Got down very well, and then came across a school when I was looking for a place to train. Got in contact with Dom, and the rest is history. Here we are 5 years later.
Wow. I gotta ask, with 2020, did you start your training pre-March or post-March?
Post March.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was
Pandemic times.
pandemic times. It was we were very safe though.
That was good.
Uh,
Yeah.
Biggest thing, it was just like we had to be, we're in a bubble almost, like
Yeah.
one of those things, like don't be stupid and everything, like be mindful, everyone, especially, we are, sweating with all those things, but we all
Yeah.
were very safe. Like definitely, it was a great time too to train because being closed off from the world and just focusing on one thing and was just training, not worrying about anything else. It was really awesome.
I was gonna ask if it was like a surreal feeling, having to start your training during a time like that in the world.
Yeah, it was one of those things. Honestly, no.
Mm.
Just because it was at a point like when everything happened, it was just like, people were getting antsy, ready to like start doing things. Like, got restrictions were getting little loosened up, but biggest thing was being safe. So being able to go to the gym and do those things were like, just that's all I was doing, just gym, wrestling, home, and it was like very routine oriented. So it was definitely just like more, I'd say, just focusing on one thing, not worrying about anything else. So I think that was a cool thing I liked about, honestly, with the pandemic era.
Yeah. And I'm always interested by the college football to wrestling stories because it seems like some of the greatest athletes in the industry, guys like Roman Reigns, they all
Yeah.
had that route, and vice versa. And I think to a lesser extent, you got guys like Brock Lesnar who left WWE to go to do the
Yeah.
NFL for a bit. But it's always interesting to me. It seems like a narrow pathway from college football to wrestling. It's one of the many pathways you could choose,
Yeah.
and it seems like it's working out for you pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been fun being part of that lineage. I will say not too much that lineage because I didn't go straight from college football to WWE. I'm taking a little
Yeah,
the more orthodox approach, going the independent scene, which is
the authentic route.
yeah, I love a lot. Definitely a lot of growing pains that I've learned. Like nothing's being handed to me. I am one of the boys. No, here
Yeah,
here wrestling, and honestly, like uh, football, it was past time mine. It's not part of me no more. So when I brand myself and everything, I'll mention the football. I am no Grizz Broady, the professional wrestler. I'm
yeah,
here to
that's
be
right.
dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah, and you are Grizz Broady, and you're billed from the Bears Den in Goodyear, Arizona. What does that signify for you personally and stylistically?
Yeah, the Bears Den of Goodyear, Arizona. As we know, if you're a native, they know no dens out there, but the den is home. That is where my roots were, planted. Just not remembering who I am, staying grounded to who I am, where I came from, knowing the person I am, just knowing like Goodyear is my home. So wherever I go, travel, it's just like staying true to who I am.
That's great. I want you to talk to me a bit about PCW. You said you started your training at the Arizona Pro Wrestling Training Center with Dom
Absolutely.
Vitale. Um, I've heard it from everyone I've talked to that's gone through there. He is an amazing mentor. It's more than learning wrestling. You're learning the life skills. Um, did when you were getting into that program, did you felt like it was the right time for you to get in there and to really explore your opportunities through wrestling?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things that I have to take a step back and know how awesome opportunity I have with the school and Dom. It's one of those things where, to be truthfully, I take take for granted because it was such a smooth transition for me to where the way things are structured at Arizona Preston Training Center, it's like my old football programs I've been a part of. It's very disciplined. We have our structure. There's uh, leadership, hierarchy, all those things. It's not the Wild West. It doesn't feel like you question things. You know what's going on. You know what to expect, expectations. You have those life lessons. Being taught is what I correlate with being an athlete, where I'm sure if any athlete that came into our program at There's a Present Training will see the things that Dom and the crew is doing. It's very, very awesome, very rewarding, and something I'm very thankful for to be a part of.
And it is very authentic as a viewer perspective from my end as the fan. I mean, they always kill it with the shows, the Phoenix Championship Wrestling shows. They're mostly based here in Mesa, which is awesome
Yeah.
for someone like me and for everyone in the community. Not everyone's gonna want to travel out. I mean, it's not to say they don't do shows elsewhere. I mean,
Hmm.
Slam U has done stuff as far as Winslow,
Yeah.
and they have you start there. They have you start at Slam U,
Hmm.
and what can you say about those early Slam U matches?
Oh, the early Slam U days were fun. Like, the one thing the new crop at the school doesn't have that my crop had is that like the early Slam U days, it was one of those things that I definitely very look back into and enjoy because Slam U used to run monthly at an old at the bar in game, the arcade bar we used to
In
be at.
Mesa,
Yeah,
yeah.
so that was a lot of fun, just getting reps under me and planted. A lot of growing pains, a couple not my not best moments, but I was new and everything. But overall, those days were so fun, and one of those things that I would do all over again. And any chance to get to wrestle now on a Slammy show, it's so fun. It's one of the best environments, especially what it's evolved to now, being more community oriented and just seeing the kids and families, just like the joy on their faces, like some that have never seen wrestling before, and they see it and they're hooked, get
Hmm.
hooked on it, and like want to watch it right then and there and come to a show. That's one of the awesome feelings in the world.
And what can you say about the locker room now as compared to when you started with your crop? Because I'm pretty sure you came from the same crop as guys like Tommy Test, if
Yeah,
I'm correct.
the crop of us was Tommy Test, Kevin Koa, Devin Reno, Zamaya was part of that crew. That was a lot of us. Now, fast forward, like it's still infancy, but 3 years later, we're whole new ball game, new talent emerging, new kids coming up. You got people from out of state coming in. It's definitely a whole different locker room to where it's become a thing of its own, and it's very awesome to see.
A lot of eyes on the product. That's what you want.
Yeah.
So I actually want you to take me back to May of 2024. Slam Fusion. What was the story behind the Grizz father?
Oh boy. we don't. Oh, that's an alter ego. That was a day. The Grizz father. Oh, the Grizz father. Yeah, he thought he was the man. Thought he can get right. Grizz father did his thing. Unfortunately, he came up short. But speaking for him, he does will get his vengeance sometime. Probably when time is right. But he in hibernation, chilling. He needs to stop pimping for a little bit.
He does. He's got to get a little cool down from that. It's a high intense moment. What is the difference? And I'd like to mention again with Slam Fusion, what's the difference between wrestling at a home show for PCW AZ compared to an event like Slam Fusion, which is for something like the Phoenix Fan Fusion?
Yeah, the biggest difference is just being alter egos, being different characters, because
Having fun with it.
just having fun. Like the Slam Fusion was one of those things where like you have Grizz father, you have people dressing up as Donkey Kong, Deadpool, all those things, and just being
Spider-Man.
yeah, being large in life characters to that next level of taken from the screen, the comic book pages, and just being that way, and not being the person that you are primarily elsewhere. I think that's the biggest difference and one of the coolest things as well.
Yeah, and I think there's a big crossover appeal between the Phoenix Fan Fusion and Phoenix Championship Wrestling
Hmm.
because even at the PCW AZ shows, if I tell a friend to go, I'm like, well, you don't got to be a wrestling fan to go to these shows. It's like anyone can pick it up from where it is, and the most casual viewer could understand what is happening and enjoy it, especially if you're there witnessing it in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just one of those things that like casual viewer can pick it up and see what's going on because in the day the stories are being told in the wrestling pick up is good versus evil. Like you want the good guy prevail over the bad guy, and bad guy does something dirty. Like, hey, that's not right. What's going on? And then before you know it, they're sucked into the story and watching what's unfolding between their eyes.
With the Phoenix Fan Fusion, I should say, do you get to nerd out at those events with all the other stuff going on that's beyond wrestling?
What? Yes, I'm a huge nerd for that stuff. Like big nerd. I enjoy it like a lot. I read a lot of comic books. I haven't read in a minute. Like cooled off on it, but I picked up the niche like in 2024,
Mm.
and I was going crazy. I was snagging all the certain covers and everything, and I ended up getting my own personal 2 pool boxes alone that I have at the house. I was like, okay,
Nice.
I need to stop.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things. Definitely, I nerd out over the things. Like I'm currently on a whole Star Wars kick. I got the Dark Sport Star Wars
Oh,
collab
yeah.
on right now,
Yeah.
so I'm just hanging out. Like I enjoy those things. Something I like to take when I'm not watching wrestling or thinking about it. I like nerd now and think about other things.
Yeah. One thing I guess I wanted to talk about in the sense of nerding out. You're a huge music fan. I've realized
Yes.
through your social media and all that. And as earlier as last month, you went to see the Antagonist 2.0 tour. Artists like Cardi, Ken
yeah,
Carson,
yeah.
Destroy Lovely, and I'll admit I'm a huge music fan,
Love it.
mostly hip hop, so
There you go.
I love it. Yeah, but for you as an individual, how much does music mean to you in your life, and how has it impacted your training and character in wrestling? I know that's a loaded question, but
Very, very, very. I'm a huge music fan. I listen to so many genres, but my 2 favorite genres I listen to at all the time is going to be hip hop and metal. Those are my 2 favorite genres that also have a big influence and impact on me, especially metal. When we talk about the character side with everything, when we're going with the wrestling, knowing who I am as an individual, the influence it has with my training. A lot of it that a lot of those things that come from metal have been influenced by training and who I'm individual with, like being rebellious, pushing against the grain, being a little hard headed. Like
Yeah.
I want to do stick up for. If I'm wrong, I'm still gonna stick up and I'll down the hip. Then I will own up to those things. But you can ask Dom, everyone. Like I definitely push to the grain. I vocal if there's something that's bothering me or anything like that, I will voice it in those things. But some of my favorite artists, as you mentioned, like I'm a big Playboy Cardi fan, Ken Carson. Like I'm always but to myself throwing those ad libs saying "see ya."
yeah, the opium label they call it.
Yeah, all of Opium. And then Slipknot as well has a big influence on me. A lot of like Corey Taylor, the brash and rebellious
Yeah.
attitude that he has, is something that I like to take point from, and like seeing a little bit of my imagery too with like the character,
Yeah.
and, like my Grizz and all that.
And I was gonna mention that because especially now more than ever in music, it's actually always been around. But even in the '90s, late '90s when Slipknot came about, they were were big for their music, of course, but also the characters. They all had their
the
masks. And, there's a crossover there with wrestling, beyond luchadors, everyone's got their character. And even in the modern sense with the Opium label, guys like Ken Carson, Playboy Cardi, they almost present this image or this character. It's a mysterious,
the Vamps.
The Vamps. The Vamps are out for this studio recording. But, do you also see that big crossover appeal in that sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I love the crossover. It's there on both sides. Like especially now, like recently, been seeing a lot of hip hop artists been coming to shows and everything. It's so cool to see that crossover happening. Like especially in hip hop because it's one of those things like it wasn't really too prevalent as much for years. It's always been rock and metal, but seeing like hip hop artists fully embrace it more now. And
it's a culture.
Yeah, it's definitely is something very cool to see.
It is really cool, especially for me, someone who grew up on music and more specifically a lot of hip hop. And even with, to your point, hip hop and metal, there's even a crossover appeal there. A lot of guys merging the sounds and production. You got rap vocalists on metal bands, or you get metal production and hip hop. It's cool. Definitely could be influential to any further themes for Grizz Broady down the line.
Yeah.
And in terms of crossover appeal of wrestling and music, how do you feel about guys like Billy Corgan and Westside Gunn, who come from the world of music and run events through promotions like the NWA and Fourth Rope?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like what both of them are doing. I like Billy Corgan, Smashing Pumpkins doing his thing with NWA. I love the old school taste he's bringing back with NWA. Super niche, but very cool to see like the way the product is and what he's doing, with that
vintage feel.
Yeah, vintage, and it has a loyal following as well. And Westside Gunn, the Hills Have Eyes, that's super awesome what he's doing, especially for the culture, being a man of color and what he's doing. With that, that's a promotion I definitely want to get on down the line. Shout out to Zamaya making it happen for the first representing us, but that's such an awesome promotion he's doing.
They got to make a show happen in AZ sometime, man. I'm saying I want to go to that. No, but I really do love what Gunn's been doing, especially it's like a crossover event. They've been doing shows as far as like Six Flags. You got hip hop performances in the middle of the wrestling. They've been able to get Hardys in for tag teams. It's impressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just upsets me a bit how the wrestling culture treats him back, especially the things with WWE and his album covers. It's a little upsetting.
Yeah, things happen, but everything will be all right.
Yeah. So I want to go back to your in-ring style in your matches, and I'd like to start by highlighting a match of yours from January of this year. You in a triple threat against Remy Marcel and current AEW star Toa Leona at a PCW AZ show. Is there a pressure on you when competing in a higher stakes environment with seasoned vets like those guys, or even a Connor Clark's, for example?
Yeah, it definitely. I would say more than anything, there is a pressure. I'll be naive to say there is not. There is a pressure that comes with being those big matches, but those are the moments that I ask for, that I want, because pressure makes diamonds, and without pressure there is no diamonds. And I love having that sense of urgency, that the feel that those seasoned vets bring, because it's going to bring the best out of me. And it's one of those things where I will admit that I'm nervous. I can get a little scared, but that's part of the game.
Yeah, channel that energy.
Yeah, it's all part of the game. At the end of the day, it's like I'm gonna prevail, and I gotta stay true to who I am, which is being the most dangerous game.
Exactly. And again, it's a great sense of urgency that you channel elsewhere during the matches. And I wanted to ask, what's the powerhouse move that you can hit in the ring that gives you the most adrenaline?
Sheesh, the most adrenaline that gets me, going spiked up the most, I'd like to say, I like to do I call it my running bulldog power slam, when I just, snatch him up, throw my shoulders, and just pounce up with that. Well, I love just bouncing off the ropes, hitting a nice spear. Everyone loves a good spear. Those are the things that get me going, get me excited, just the thrill of it.
The world's been rocked ever since that Braun Breaker spear at the Rumble on Speed.
Was nuts.
That was nuts. I watched that. I was like, Dude. Man. Is there a match or opponent in Phoenix Championship Wrestling that you feel pushed you to evolve your style the most?
Yeah, let's see. All the competitors. Been a few that I can. I'll say not. I won't say one, but I'll say from the few that I have faced. My first big time match in 2023 against Clark. Shout out to him. He pushed me. Then we had Brandon Gatson. That was an awesome match as well. That pushed me as well. How to get creative out the box.
That was in Oregon?
No, that was here.
Oh,
yeah.
oh.
Yeah, that was here. That was here at PCW. With that was like 2024. We had that, and then as well, taking it back to some early matches. Lord Draco. That was definitely exciting. And then I'll say this year, let's get into it. Let's say we'll look at we'll say Joey Hendricks. He was definitely pushed me to the brim, and he's. Even though I don't like him, he is definitely. I gotta give him credit. He's definitely doing his thing. Is he going about the way? No, but he is starting to find that swag and doing what he's doing.
It's a good styles clash going on at the shows. You get to see a lot of personalities mixed that you wouldn't see otherwise. So again, going back to your moveset, your finisher, the Kodiak's Bite. It is, I guess, a modified Michinoku driver. It is one of the most brutal moves that is on that roster right now. And how did that come about, finalizing that for yourself?
It was just one of those things where I was just looking like I need something vicious to put him away easily. And I was just looking, do my research in my tape studies, came across a modified version. I was like, you know what, we're gonna take this and run with it. I like how what I can do with it, and it's going to give me the easy finish. So that was what came about. It just vigorous hours is like searching for what can I do to be the finish.
And what makes that finisher in particular, the Kodiak's Bite, the perfect ending for your matches?
Because once I put them on the shoulders, it's wraps.
They know it.
They know it. It's we going down for the 1, 2, 3, and it's over.
You know it. They know it. Ref knows it. Fans know it. They're all excited. I also really like your top rope drop kick.
Yeah,
seen a few clips of that. That's impressive, man.
Yeah, the missile drop kick. That one, that's in the back pocket. I need to use as needed.
Oh yeah, not desperation, but when like you said, when necessary. So we had kind of briefly mentioned it, but didn't go into too much detail. But earlier in this year, you had suffered a very serious injury, which put you out of action for quite a while. And currently, in this moment, you are 4 months removed from major surgery. And I just want to ask, what was the severity of that injury, and what has the entire journey since then to now looked like for you on the road to recovery?
Yeah, the journey with that has definitely been a very rewarding, humbling. One that taught me a lot of things. The injury happened, back in May of this year. For those that don't know, I tore my pectoral major in a match. One of those things would not expect. No one knew, even myself. But I knew something was wrong, and got the confirmation from the doctors and had to get immediate surgery. So it has definitely been, like I said, one rewarding, humbling, but also frustrating at times, because I had a lot of momentum. I was building. I was doing all the right things, going in the right direction, getting the eyes needed on me to elevate to that next step where I want my career. However, everything happens for a reason. This is also one of the best things that could happen to me, because when you're constantly on go, and just worry about the next thing, what's happening in the moment, and not looking at the grand picture of things, you kind of get lost in the sauce, like to say, and be able to take a step back and just reflect and just focus on the injury and not worry about wrestling and all those things. It gave me a different perspective on what I want to do in this business and what I want to accomplish. So biggest thing it's taught me to say is patience and perspective.
Very good point. You had your humbling moment, but you probably are more driven than you ever were because of it. What do you see as your role within the Arizona wrestling landscape moving forward?
That is a good question. So with that, it's crazy. A lot, even though it's only been it's been 4 months since the surgery, but in May we take that, like, yeah, 6 months since me gone. That's half a year of me being gone, and like, I'm not making my return until 2026, and there's been a lot of things that have happened, and a lot of things continue to unfold. Wolfgang just lost his title. We have a new champ that is running the ship. We got new contenders, new villains, or case may be, who's coming up, trying to think they can, make what's happening, because they're going for the same thing that I want. And at the end of the day, like, I can't come back in there and say, hey, I'm coming back. I'm cutting. No, I gotta start the back of the line and work my way up. And there is a lot of people that have caught my attention, and I'm very excited.
That is exciting, and I wanted to ask. Obviously, with Phoenix Championship Wrestling feeling like home with every show possible, you probably feel the most fit there. But even with all the promotions up north or even in Texas, do you feel like you fit that mold that they have carved for their own ambitions?
Absolutely. Like, I was saying, the Pacific Northwest is another home of mine, and I'm just enjoying the places I'm working up there and continuing to grow. Every place I've gone up there, from DOA, Metal Mania, to Peak, and then working Dog Pound Championship Wrestling. I'm starting to make that place mine as well. Especially DOA. Love the crew up there. Shout out Drexel and Amira. They treat me good with everything they're doing over there. So definitely very very excited to get back up there, and also shout out Chris at Peak.
Mm. Yeah, so with DOA, that's in the Portland area, right?
Yeah.
And you would mention, but not gone into further detail on that feeling more homey, or like, homely, in the sense that you found a place there,
Mm-hmm.
not like a physical home, but
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
a environmental home to what you're doing with your profession in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Could you explain that feeling to me a bit more?
Yeah, the feeling of home. Like, I've got into nourish relationships up there. Like, got to know some people, and also they're first people give me an opportunity to break out, go do my own thing, and not be where everyone else is going. So, like, branching out to different places, and since I've gone up there for the first time, they've treated me good. The fans have accepted me with open arms, and it's just one of those places. Anytime I get to go up there, I enjoy it.
What's the difference between the fans here in Arizona compared to fans in Portland?
I'll say, yeah, for example, Portland, definitely every crowd is a little bit of its own, a little bit different. Here at home, we're very family friendly,
Mhm.
oriented with the product. With what we have, a lot of people just want to see great wrestling. We don't care about the over top antics and what the wrestling has to offer. Another side that being a big wrestling fan.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, DOA is a very more 18 plus crowd.
Yeah.
Very, like, they have a certain taste. They like what they wrestle, and they know what they want. If you don't do well, they'll let you know as well that
Yeah.
you were terrible. Very, very, very different in terms of the crowd appeal and how to cater to that crowd.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, there's some fundamentals there. They all cheer for the same things. You just got to figure out what it is and just move from there.
Yeah, it's a different kind of creative freedom, but there's caveats to it.
Yeah.
with the fans, and I've learned that through conversations with guys like Tommy Test, especially with the California shows like PCW Ultra. I've been
Yeah.
told that they're more raunchy and smart than
Yes.
others, and that could get a little difficult sometimes when
they-
trying to get your points across.
Yeah, the Ultra days, definitely rest in peace, Ultra.
Were those humbling?
humbling? They were fun. They accepted me with open arms. They
That's
definitely
great.
did. But they'll let you know if you messed up for sure.
Even if it's for a second.
Yeah, they do. But very very fun environment. I thrive in environments like that. I love going into honestly hostile environments, because it's like one of those things, just being the away team coming into home team's turf. That's a feeling that I love more than anything.
And I'm sure across the globe you've been able to train with more seasoned people. Not to say the guys not here in Arizona are seasoned, but people that have been in and out the business their whole lives and in major promotions. in I guess even for a small example, like you worked a program with Brian Zane and DOA. Well, he was managing
Hmm.
your opponent, but still, you got to like trash talk him a bit. That's got to be fun.
Yeah, it was cool to put my hands on him. It
Yeah.
was cool. Like definitely one of those things that was awesome. No, being there, just like brushing shoulders with people. Like 2022 was an awesome year. I got to spend a week at the LA dojo for New Japan Pro Wrestling before it
Wow.
became the academy where they're doing open enrollment. It was
Nice.
very closed off. It was like invite only to go and train there if you weren't one of the young lions. And being there with Katsura Shibata for a week was definitely fun. Learned a lot.
You get hit by him?
Yeah,
He hits hard?
yeah. That man ain't no joke. And
He
when
ain't a
when he's
joke.
instructing us, he walks around the kendo stick. Like like
Man.
I speak no lick of Japanese, but I understood everything he was saying to me. Like
You had to at that moment, yeah.
yeah. So it was definitely definitely super fun, rewarding, different perspective on what goes into training and everything, and a lot of those things too. Like from the dojo, we take a lot of those flops that we learned and implement into our training. That's been being applied as well. So it's been super exciting picking up new things, and then also within that year too, I got to train at a couple different places. I went up to West Coast Pros Training Academy, as well. Monster Factory I did in the Worldwide Dojo where Cheeseburgers at. So I got to be in a couple different environments, experience different things. As well. It's been cool.
And even future stars of wrestling in Vegas.
Yeah, it's
and
been.
They got a lineage there.
They absolutely do. It's been some time since I've been there, but they're doing real good, doing their thing. A lot of the boys from the school go up wrestle there a lot, so they're doing their thing.
I remember Zamaya won their women's championship WrestleMania weekend this year. That was sick. I was watching that live.
Awesome.
Happy for her. And what about Texas? Because I'm actually very unfamiliar with the current Texas wrestling scene. I hear that people go there, but I don't know much about it.
I mean, the Texas wrestling scene is awesome. Like that is a scene that I want to grow in. There's a couple awesome companies called Inspire AD, New Texas Pro. Those are the two big ones that have run the block. And of course, scratch that. They're the two, but the biggest one that has all its eyes is, of course, Reality of Wrestling. It's Booker T's promotion out in Houston. So those are like the big three. I'll say that out there. And then you got where I work for Dog Pound Championship Wrestling. That is the streamline into NWA. So they got a lot of great wrestling out there. So break into, especially to make a name for yourselves.
Have you worked the New Mexico territories?
I have not. Definitely want to at some point in the future. Go out there and see what's going on. But for the time being, my focus is going to, when I get hit the ground run, is going to be conquering the Pacific Northwest and all of Texas.
I guess including the country and even the world. You have a bucket list of places to wrestle for, or not even promotions, just states and countries.
We'll say we'll go regional, East Coast. I want to get out to. I definitely want to go hang out there and wrestle in all those places. We'll say one of the ones that's awesome. That's would be very awesome. House of Glory, seeing what they're doing beyond wrestling with Wrestle Open. Named a few, and then say we're talking bigger promotions and everything. Obviously New Japan, Noah is things I have my eyes on, so I'm here for the long game.
Yeah.
Overall, just to have some fun and get after it.
That's sick, man. Big aspirations.
Yeah.
And a big mindset to follow through with those aspirations.
Absolutely.
Yeah, gotta have it. With your fitness, does that a lot of that tie in directly to wrestling, or is there a lot of work beyond that you have to set yourself out for and accomplish in order to do what you want to do with wrestling?
Yes and no. The yes side, when I first started training and everything, I followed a program that was strictly to get me in shape for wrestling and get me get my cardio and that side of my endurance up. So I was doing a lot of rigorous hit movements, very short rest, explosive, all out, max performance to really boost my cardiovascular with that. And then once I got to a point to where I didn't need to worry about the cardio side as much, the biggest side with wrestling, as I said, is a business of aesthetics. So that's where bodybuilding comes into play, which was a whole new world that I was learning for the past 4 years, like understanding and everything, knowing what goes into that, and then just like the aesthetic side with that and that training. I actually have a bodybuilding coach, and I was also in prep when the injury happened was for my first bodybuilding show because I've been trained like a bodybuilder for quite some time. I was like, let's take a crack at accomplishing the side quest of doing a show just to do it.
Just to do it.
Yeah.
Oh. As we wrap up this episode of Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse, I'm Lance Reece, and I've been joined in studio with my guest, the most dangerous in the game, Grizz Broady. And Grizz, I have one last question for you. As the world prepares to head into the new year of 2026, what are the goals you've set out for yourself in the ring, and where can we expect to see Grizz Broady in the new year?
So with that, some of the goals, we got a lot of goals from 2025 we didn't hit, and we're gonna pick up where we left off and accomplish those goals. So that's gonna be before I write new ones. I will give you this in terms of with PCWAZ. When I return, my presence is going to be felt, and whoever I have my eyes set on better be ready because Grizz is coming.
That's what I like to hear. I got to thank you, Grizz, for coming on Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse. Your time is very much appreciated. Your social medias, if people wanted to see more about you, you can drop those now.
Yeah, all my socials for X, also formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. It's just Grizz Broady 98. You can follow me where I'm showcasing from personal life to my wrestling stuff. Just tap in, hanging out. If you want to know more, give your boy a follow.
Perfect. We'll definitely be hearing more of Grizz Broady in the future. All right. Again, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Well, that wraps up episode 28 of Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse. Did you like this weekend's episode? Well, you're going to like every episode that comes after it because we are Wrestlezona here on 88.7 The Pulse, and we come to you every Sunday here exclusively on 88.7 The Pulse at 8 in the morning. So you're going to hear a lot more wrestling interviews, a lot more wrestling themes. Again, shoot us a DM at Wrestlezona on Instagram is where you can find us, as well as we keep everything archived and all our information on Wrestlezona.com as well as 887thepulse.com. If you missed a part of this episode, I'm sure you can go ahead and find it right now. So again, of course, I'm Lance Reece with Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse, and until next time... Support for Wrestlezona comes from the Wrestling Guy Store Phoenix, offering wrestling-themed merchandise and collectibles. More information at WGSPHX.com. That is WGSPHX.com.